Well, the reason I thought that was a good transition is because my most improved player right now, I think I would give to Franz Wagner of the Magic. I mean, there have been players who've stepped up their scoring more. He scored just under 20 points per game last season. He's averaging 23.3 right now.
Yeah.
So that's an increase of less than four, but game winners against the Lakers and crazy difficult shots, making the right play again and again and again. And yeah, I think Franz Wagner is my most improved player of the quarter season ban.
Tim's, that's exactly who I had. Funny, that's great because we haven't even spoken about this at all.
Yeah.
No, Franz is for me as well. He hasn't made the biggest jump stats wise.
Exactly.
But he's the best player, and he has improved a lot. The stats might look slightly different, but those 23 compared to the 18 last year. The 23 is so much more meaningful this year,
Yeah,
I think. He's
exactly.
doing it in big moments. He's stepping up when he needs to. I'm completely with you, Tims. Who do you have as possibilities?
I mean, we mentioned my guy Stormin Norman Powell, who's gone from 14 to over 23 points per game this year on the Clippers. I mean, it's great to see that. His volume's gone up, obviously, because Paul George has left. So he's up there. I think Ty Jerome, who we spoke about before the podcast on the Cavs, is playing out of his mind right now. I mean, he's playing very efficient basketball, so he'd be up there. And one more name I would throw into the mix for me is Jalen Johnson from the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
20, 10, and 5 he's averaging this year. I mean,
Is he?
he's 20, 10, and 5. Pretty big numbers.
God, I overlooked him, Tim.
Yeah, and he's shooting only 34% from three. So if he can maybe push that into the high 30s, maybe he gets to 21, 22 points per game, up from 16 last year. So Jalen Johnson is my underrated player to watch in the entire NBA right now. He's so athletic. He's incredible. He's like 6'10". He's a giant.
Sure.
And he's incredible. So I think obviously Franz is the winner for me, but with Paolo coming back later in the year, maybe his usage goes down. So hey, maybe we can see Jalen Johnson or Storman Norman or someone else come through.
Yeah, no, completely with you, Tims, on that.
Yep.
Who else? I actually had a different Atlanta Hawk, Tims. I had the Great Barrier Thief, Dyson Daniels, on my list. It went from averaging 6 points last year to 14 this year.
Yeah.
Slightly improved. He's gone up by 1 or 2 in the rebound and assist department, but I mean the 3.2 steals he's averaging is just it's a bit too much for me not to mention. I think he's been incredible for them this year. And my guy Najee Marshall, Tims, I think if he continues on the run that he's been going on, now again, if you look at stats wise, he's only averaging 11 this year, I think. But like you said, he in his first few games he was scoring 2 and 6 and 4 and 5. But if he carries on scoring how he has been and playing how he has been, Tims, I think he's in for a huge running. Now my only last player on the list, and don't shout at me, is Victor Wembanyama. What do you think about that shout?
He's a much more polished player this year. So regardless of the stats, I can see where you're coming from. But give me the stats, man. I know you've got them.
Stats-wise, I do have them, Tims. I do have them. So he was averaging 21 last year, 21, 13 and 3, I think. He's still averaging 13 and 3. But he's only averaging 23 points. But in the last week, or last week and a half, he's averaging 34. So if he manages to keep that up, he kind of warmed up to the season a bit. The Spurs went on a bit of a win streak. So we'll see, Tims. Again, like we said, we'll give it to Franz, but I think Wemby, if he continues scoring at the rate he has been this week, then he should definitely have his name in the hat.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Franz, if we were betting men, Barn, we would say his averages might perhaps come down by the end of the season simply because Banchero will come back. Whereas Wembanyama, I would say he'd be averaging 25 points per game potentially by the end of the year.